We alive right now, man. It's going down, excited for the season. You know, we coming off a playoff win. I mean, you know, we had a couple wins.
At least pride-wise, made me feel good because you don't ever want to get swept.
And I've never done this. I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
If you ask me, can the Bucks win Game 5? I'd put it at
100%
confidence. Yes.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
At this point, we don't know what's going to happen. You can get Game 6. You can steal it.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Winning Game 6 and 7?
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
I don't think they're going to win the whole series, but
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Hello and welcome to episode 227 of Diaries, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, presented to you by us, the staff here at Brew Hoop. I am Kyle Carr. I am back. I had a nice, relaxing weekend that included seeing the Bucks lose to the Nets in very terrible, awful, no good. But then I got a massage after, so it all worked out for me. But I am joined by my usual co-host, Jack. How's it going?
Going all right, Kyle. Your week off sounded real nice, getting pampered. So hats off to you. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, Christmas time, seeing friends and family, whatnot. As far as this team goes, I might be a little bit punchy on this episode because I'm worried a little bit about where this team's going and what's about to happen, but we'll get to that.
Can we be more punchy than Jackson and Finn were last week, though?
Yes. Probably not. So, yeah,
the bar set high.
Pod regardless.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not enjoy watching the Bucks. I was kind of glad that the schedule was how it was because it was like, okay, they got embarrassed. I have 4 days to not think about it. And then I was like, we got back. And the Bucks came up short against the Toronto Raptors. They lost 105-111. The score was a little bit more generous, I would say. After halftime, Milwaukee pretty much could not stay within the range of the Raptors, which, granted, I figured was going to happen. That was a weird game as well. Like the whole first half, the Raptors didn't take a single free throw and then ended the game with like 20 or 30. So I don't know what happened there. But then they went to Minnesota and the third quarter, which we will talk about, struck. And that was not a good time. They lost 100-103. And it's funny because, Jack, you had watched the game after, so you did not see the whole discombobulation leading up. So I'll let you explain your thoughts, what you were saying to me before we started recording about the Timberwolves game.
Yeah. So I was out, had to drive some people to the airport for basically the first three quarters. I got home and they were within 7, and I thought, oh, wow, we've done all right here. We're within 7. And then I rewatched the game and realized that they were basically up 10-15 the whole first half, and even had a lot of opportunities to extend that out to even sort of 20-point range. So, obviously the third quarter, which I will admit, I just watched the highlights of the third quarter and then went to the fourth quarter because I didn't want to watch it. So, because apparently it was that bad. So, it's just a hilarious kind of I thought they did well, but they actually did not do well at all.
Yeah, I took the boys to bed and the Bucks were up, I think 10. And I was like, all right, not bad. Take the boys to bed. I come down, the game is tied. I was like, oh, what happened? I talked to my fiance. She's like, oh yeah, the Bucks haven't scored in 5 minutes. I was like, what? She's like, no, they literally have not scored in 5 minutes. I was like, oh, realizing that Minnesota won on a 20-0 run, which then eventually got them the lead, and somehow, some way, the Bucks still ended the third quarter tied at 75. I was like, okay, I'm surprised they kept it tied. And then it just got worse between Bobby missing wide open layups, the team turning the ball over what seemed like every possession or every other possession. Like Kevin Porter Jr. would have a turnover. Bobby had tried grabbing it and dribble off his leg. Kyle Kuzma had a turnover late. And I was like, okay, I need this game to be over. So then when the challenge happened, I was like, why are we challenging this? Let me mercifully be done with this game. So granted, I knew that lead wasn't going to last the way it did because in the first quarter, especially Minnesota's offense was not able to hit any type of shot. But you would hope that in that third quarter, you would have seen something. And it just felt like Milwaukee could not even string together one competent possession. And it's like there were just bad shot selection. There was just what seemed like aimless dribbling. There was a few turnovers. Like it didn't feel as though it just felt like the slump was just going to continue with no end in sight, which feels like that's the theme of the season where it's just like, okay, things just keep somehow, some way not getting better. But I don't know, like between this game or the Raptors game, Jack, I guess in your feeling with the Raptors game, what was your thoughts on that?
The Raptors game was an interesting one. I mean, all of these teams are more talented than the Bucks, right? Like they just have more horsepower. You know, the way this team is built is obviously Giannis is basically the only kind of capital G guy. And so with the Raptors game, it was really interesting because they didn't play. Jakob Poeltl was probable coming in, and then he was a late scratch with, I believe, a back issue. So they didn't have him, which theoretically should have opened up some opportunities to score inside. The other thing that we were talking about on our kind of Discord chat is that they were switching everything. And basically they just made the bet that the Bucks were not going to be able to beat their switches, and they were willing to switch Jamal Shed onto KPJ, you know, small onto big, and they were just like, all right, if KPJ is going to beat us with like back down fadeaways, like go ahead. And he made a couple of them, but it really felt like they gave the Bucks chances to get back into the game like multiple times, but it just felt like, we didn't have enough firepower basically to overcome them. And they were showing us the same defense every single time. And it was just beat a switch, and they just couldn't do it. So, and a bit of a missed opportunity with them missing their starting center. I think we could have made some inroads there, but yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing game. But also, I almost don't know what to think anymore. It's like they're just less talented than a lot of teams.
Yeah, and I feel like in the Raptors game, it was like you got a good game out of Bobby. You got a good half out of Miles Turner. You had a okay game from Ryan Rollins, who came off the bench, which don't understand. And what Doc is doing with Ryan Rollins lately is also more confusing because he had him sit for long stretches in Minnesota. But it was like you had that, but then you were let down by AJ Green, who returned, and he didn't really get much going in the 24 minutes. You had Gary Trent Jr., who did not do well that game. And then you had, Gary Harris was a positive out of the Bucks guys, but it was one of those where it was kind of just like, you never really had the feeling once Milwaukee kind of fell behind in that third quarter, you never really had the feeling that they were going to be able to dig themselves out of it. And I think a lot of it's what you said. They just could not find a way to counter that switch. And I think that is one of those where I understand with Miles Turner, like he took a lot of shots and he was making those shots in the first half, but you should have found a way to get him either more looks or get easy looks. Like Miles Turner was doing really well. You got to find a way to keep that going. And it felt like they were starting to go away from that. And I don't know. I think that's just kind of like these teams are just better than the Bucks, which is true. But at the same time, most of these games you've been in a position where you were in a good position for the majority of the game. And it's like, other than the Nets game, I can't think of many Bucks games in the last couple weeks. Granted, there hasn't been that many, but I feel like there hasn't been that many games the last couple weeks where you could ultimately say, oh, they had no chance at winning. Besides that Nets embarrassment. So then it's also like, yes, you're not as talented, but also you have enough talent to compete. So why is it there's just too much margins on coaching?
Yeah.
It's down to coaching, in my opinion, which I know they've already bashed on Doc I just want to say, I have been saying Doc has not been that guy, and he should not have been the coach since day one. So I'm glad that everyone has seen the light.
Yeah. Oh my god. The whole
The
whole Doc conversation is just like, yeah. I mean, they run a lot of kind of pointless actions, like aimless sets. There's a lot of just like dribbling for the sake of dribbling. And I do try and be like, for example, like the Toronto game, I do try and be fair to him when I feel like they're just out talented. But at the same time, like, yeah, Doc just, there's no, he just is such like a level below in terms of creativity. Like, I was watching the Celtics and the Pacers play today, and like the Pacers are obviously going through a rough patch, but like the Celtics, like the guard to guard screen, they've got one guard to guard screen to get one matchup, and then they can go into a big to guard screen and get another matchup, and everything is so organized, and they know exactly what they're trying to get. Like, it was just like, we're going to do a guard to guard screen, get the initial defender off Jaylen Brown, so get Nemhard off Jaylen Brown, and then we're going to go into a small pick and roll so we can get Jaylen Brown going downhill at J half. And you could tell that's just like they have these pressure points that they wanted to hit every single time. And it's not even the same sport as what Doc is doing. Like, Doc, it just feels like he's got like a strategy for every team, and there's no like individuality about like what pressure points they're trying to hit. And yeah, the moment like the Bucks fired Bud and then made the decision to hire Griffin, like, we will talk about that for a long time as like the beginning of the end. Like, that was a real just horrible decision in this timeline of with Giannis on the team, and like it just really set us back so far.
Yeah, and it's also one of those where it's like, I don't blame, like I've been saying, like I don't blame the Bucks for making the decision to fire Bud, because
Nor do I.
it did feel as though that team had hit its ceiling, and yes, they did win a title, but there were too many seasons where Bud was simply outcoached, which then caused them to lose series. Like the Miami one, which is the one that ultimately got him fired. It's like, okay, I understand you, to be honest, but you had no plan into stopping Jimmy Butler. There was never an adjustment, and it felt as though the adjustment and the changes was, okay, stop playing Jay Crowder, which good, but that wasn't enough. Or when you think about 2019, it was they had no plan to counter the wall that they were throwing at Giannis. It didn't help that players like Eric Bledsoe were not helping the team at all. But you look at the series against Miami in the bubble, that was another one. Even when they won the title with the Nets, again, it felt like Bud was simply out coach for a chunk of that series against the Nets.
Can I just cut in there against the Nets? I just have to cut in here. When James Harden had he was like, his hamstring was falling off the bone, and they were letting him just sit in the corner on defense for like an entire game and not making him play defense. That's like a perfect example of what you're talking about.
And it's like, again, they got by, and Bud did outcoach Monty Williams in the finals. Like, I will save that. So like, but at the time it made sense to part ways with Bud. Hiring Adrian Griffin, and I said this in the Discord, I actually think Adrian Griffin would have been a better coach for this current roster than the one that he got. And ironically, Doc might have been, if they had switched it, where Doc took over the team that had just a game and everything, I still think they still would have been in the position they're in. But I think it would have been better for Doc to work with that team that had more egos between Giannis and Chris and Brooke and Dame. You could have managed that, and Bobby, you could have managed that a lot better than this team where it's like, there's just Giannis and his ego. And the team is more athletic, and you could have probably been more aggressive with the defense and have a new idea because you had the personnel. And that's weird because Adrian Griffin probably would have been a better fit for this roster. But speaking of Giannis, we'll do a quick rumor slop roundup, whatever. More or less, Giannis is going to be out a little bit longer than we had realized. The left calf strain that it was diagnosed as is actually a soleus injury, which, if you remember back 2 years ago when Giannis didn't play against the Pacers, that was the injury he had suffered. So it was that same sort of strain that kept him out of that 2024 postseason. The expected timeline is now going to be 4 to 6 weeks and not the 2 to 4 weeks that was initially reported. And right now, so that basically means Giannis might come back more mid-January as opposed to right after the new year. So basically what I'm saying is potentially another couple weeks without Giannis, which not ideal to hear when you're going on a big road trip to end the season. Not the season, to end the calendar year, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, first up, just don't rush this back at all. I think that could have catastrophic consequences that nobody wants. So whatever it is, just until he's in tip-top condition, don't bring him back. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got a bunch of like games against below 500 teams coming up. I mean, I was the one who predicted they would lose against the Nets, so I'm definitely not saying that they just like
I think everyone assumed that, so you were not in the wrong there.
Yeah, but it might be like a you know, like they might be able to pick up some wins here, but also I don't know from game to game what you're going to get. I mean, credit to them, like they've played some good games amongst the bad games, but yeah, there is potential like they could just go completely off the rails and lose all these games to like the below 500 teams. Like, I don't know if you've been watching Charlotte lately, but they look good.
I'd rather not, but I'll
Yeah.
take it.
And like, so they're like, you're seeing like the teams like even below the Bucks getting some good wins. I believe even Brooklyn beat Toronto yesterday, I want to say. So, yeah, if you don't come to play, you're going to get beaten by anyone.
Yeah. Which we'll see. I mean, yes, it is there. It's a little bit easy. On the one hand, it's on the road, so that's definitely difficult. But on the other hand, it is teams that you maybe think they could fare better against, between the Pacers, between a Bulls team that is not playing as well as they did at the beginning of the season, the Hornets, even though they've had issues with the Hornets, the Grizzlies, who are always just one moment away from implosion, and the Wizards. Like, the schedule does get easier, but it also does have more road games, which the Bucks are not doing as well. And let's be real, this Bucks team has not given us any reason to be confident in them anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
But when we were putting together what we learned, we had, I think you and I basically, we had the same overlapping theme. So I'll let you go first and explaining what you learned, and I'll just mention where mine is, and I think we could just like go from there, because like I said, it is more or less the same aspect.
Yeah. So I wasn't on the pod last week, but obviously there's news coming out. Like, you know, you get the Giannis reports, which we spoke about 2 pods ago. He's like, I don't know, it was kind of a report about nothing. Kind of he's going to make a decision, but then also the sources, the people reporting them say that like writing on the wall and stuff like that. So I don't know how much. I mean, these people don't make stuff up out of thin air, so I don't really know how much credence to give to all of that. Regardless,
also,
it's all just
Giannis did talk to the media before the Raptors game. It wasn't necessarily like the most confirming. Like, he did say like, I have not said anything, but he never went out and openly said, yeah, no, like, I'm not doing any of this. He was just like, it's my agents and my reps talking. So if they're talking, then like, it is what it is. I'm not. Which is just
ridiculous, because he's like, if my representatives are talking to people, then I can't control that. It's like, no, man, they represent you. Like,
it's like you are their boss,
stupid, man.
It's like you are their
pay
boss.
Them, man. Anyway.
What do you need? So yeah, so that also did not help the situation where Giannis. I get talking to media, but I feel like he didn't want to talk about it. But I was just like, Giannis, I didn't expect him to openly lie, but at the same time, you could have at least given a BS, like simple BS thing where it's like, I have not had discussion, and he could have just ended it right there.
Yeah. And then so that happens, and you know, like whatever, there's the hullabaloo about like all this, you know, like trade chatter and stuff, and then you get the subsequent reports, which shout out to Jackson for doing like a million users on all of these, but about that the Bucks are actually considering being buyers and trying to get someone in to like be the white knight and like save this situation. And I don't know, I find this, I just find that like manifestly irresponsible. You know, like it's as if like it's like Giannis is like the parent and like where like the organization is like the kid clinging to their like leg, like please don't, like come on, bro. And I just every time I hear a new name, I just want to puke. Like Zach LaVine, no, you know, like Jeremy Grant, like no, but like I'm sorry, like the level of player that would have to come in to like salvage what we're watching right now is like unacquirable. That like I'm just like, it feels like John Horst is operating from a place of desperation, and I am terrified of what he's going to do. And I for one am one that I cared. Like I'm looking, if you look at the state of this team, they are 11th in the East. They're not far away from 12th. Losing to teams that are literally trying to lose. They don't own their first round pick in the next 5 drafts. Every single pick looks radioactive.
Pending miracle, they might get it this next summer. Like that's a miracle situation.
Sorry. I mean, like, yeah. Sorry, I should say they don't own the most favorable. So yeah, there's that. They have 20 million in dead cap over the next 5 seasons because of the Miles Turner thing, which like I co-signed at the time because I said if they go into a rebuild, it's not really going to matter whether they have 20 million in dead cap. So who cares? But and they have an older core. This is the important part. They have an older core that they've found some players that are younger, you know, like Ryan Rollins, AJ Green and stuff. But like on balance, their core is older and it will get worse. Whereas all these teams that are above them are filled with they've done the hard yards of being bad for a long time, and so they're filled with high lottery picks, and these guys are going to get better over time. So if you look at like think of it as stock chart, like our stock will fall, whereas everyone else's will rise. And so you put all this together, and like what we're going to increase our chances of winning a championship from 1% to 3%. And burn 2 future picks by doing it. Like, I'm sorry. I find the whole thing just completely irresponsible, and I'm very worried. So, yeah.
I agree. Especially, I feel like there's only one player where if you just look at just the talent, I'm not saying like just the talent, the one player that probably is available that you could get is Ja Morant. Like that's the only player of talent. Like you can get a talented player that could change the fortune, but it's Ja Morant. So you're going in with the potential behavioral attitude, whatever, and you don't need another point guard because you got Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. So that's like the only realistic player that has like high-end talent, like a high ceiling.
Another one is like Anthony Davis, but like that guy never plays.
But that's a whole nother set of baggage where it's like, okay, if you're bringing in Anthony Davis, what are you doing? So you're going to have a lineup of Giannis, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner all playing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, the idea would be trade Turner in the deal, but yeah, I mean, I've already said I don't want to trade for any of these guys, but that's like the other guy that comes up. It's like, and you know, Anthony Simons, like, give me a break, dude. Like,
like these guys aren't like Zach LaVine and Anthony Simons and Andrew Wiggins and Jeremy. It's like none of these guys are worth. Like, it's one thing when it was like, if you had told me in the summer, trade Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma for an Anthony Simons, I'd be like, co-sign, do it. Why not? But at this point, you're pretty. But now, if you're gonna have to add a first round pick, then it's like I don't see the point of trading the 2031 first round pick. I'm not one to think like, you got to keep that draft pick. But that was when there was a difference when the Bucks were actually like a contending team or had contending talent teams. Now it's like we're doing this just to maybe get into a play-in, which You're 2.5 games out of a play-in spot. Even if you win the play-in, okay, cool. You're going against Detroit or New York, where you will likely lose in 4 or 5 on a good day. Doesn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like you're better off reloading. I feel like you're better off saying, okay, we'll take your crappy, like, Zach LaVine contract, sure. But you are going to you are going to send us the picks. We're not sending you picks. You're going to send us picks. And we can then use that. Like, you can have Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma, but you are adding a first-round pick with that. It might not be this upcoming summer, but you have to give us a first-round pick or 2 to take. Like, you want to get off this contract. Give us something worth doing. Like, that's what you'll have to do, because then you take on Zach LaVine. You have him for maybe a season or 2, but then you have a first-round pick coming with it. Like, you have to. Like, you cannot be buyers. Because also, Milwaukee's not really in a position to be a buyer. They have no draft picks. They don't have an asset. Like, what asset are you trading? Ryan Rollins?
I mean, I will say they have assets. And if I was, I will tell you right now, if I was any other GM in the league, I'd be bringing John Horst Line off the hook, because he seems to be operating from a spot of desperation. And,
because he knows if he can't keep Giannis, his job's on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, good on him though. He just signed a contract extension. So, I just, like the DEFCON 1 scenario is that you trade one or both of these picks for some like guy who's going to make you like, I don't know, to put them into like the 8th spot in the play-in or whatever it is. And like you trade those picks and then Giannis goes, still not good enough. I'm out of here. Right. And so, look, the whole trading Giannis thing, like, if that's a conversation we want to have, I'll have that conversation. I tend to think that, like, this whole era is over, and I think that they should probably realize that. But just, it just feels like we're in the fun. Like, the first 2 trades that they made, the trade for Drew, 100%. They had all their assets at that point. They had just gone. They were dominating regular season after regular season. Brook was in the prime of his career. Like they just needed that final piece.
And it was one of those where it's like, okay, you're upgrading from what you had. Like, it was an upgrade. You had Eric Bledsoe. It was not going to work. You upgrade on Eric Bledsoe. So that was like, okay, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Yeah. And then the Dame trade. I mean, like, we can, your mileage may vary on if Dame was the correct player to go after. But in terms of like I also got that one because, like Drew was kind of just, he couldn't shoot the ball in the playoffs and like whatever. Like, and I got the logic behind it, and they were still in a position. I don't know how old Giannis was, like probably like 28, 29 at that point.
Yeah.
So I got that one. This going back to the well, when this team is 11th in the East, like, I want to watch this team in 5 years, and I want to be excited about what the team is. And I don't want to watch the LA Clippers. And if you trade those picks, I fear we would become the LA Clippers, where it's like no picks, an aging core, no reason to get excited. And I think a big part of being a fan is your team is either good or you have hope to be good. And a lot of that hope comes through the draft. And so if you take away the draft element, then it just like you become a rudderless franchise. And, you look at any independent analyst that looks at this situation and thinks that the Bucks should be going all in again. Find me one that says that, like literally one analyst that isn't a Bucks fan that tells me that that's a route that they should go.
I'll add those 2 routes are correct. I'll add the third. Either yes, compete for a title, or just be very good / very competitive. Have a hope, have a plan, have a future. Because like, yes, we can make fun of, we can make fun of Brooklyn and we can make fun of the Wizards, but the Wizards are building something that make you go, okay, maybe things can get better. It's like with the Orlando Magic and Detroit Pistons. Like, okay, this sucks right now, but there is at least a plan, and we have these guys that can be good. But then there's the third one, and that's, as a fan, if you're not going to compete and there is no plan, at least give me something worth watching, and that is Giannis. And I said I'd rather Giannis either stay with the Bucks or go to Greece and say I'm done. I don't care. That is the ideal scenario for me. If the Bucks don't trade Giannis and he just decides I'm leaving and going to Greece and the team's in a bad position, whatever. Because I still get to see Giannis and it's all good.
I love this.
But hemorrhaging the future, like, that's the problem. You're going to hemorrhage your future. Make this trade. Trade your 2031 pick for Jeremy Grant, and you maybe get a 9th seed, and you're going to lose in the play-in. And then we're going to sit here and be like, okay, cool. So our star player's gone, so there's nothing worth watching. We have no draft picks, so there's not even like a plan or hope for the future, and this team isn't competitive. So we've struck out on all three.
Yeah,
right.
I was listening to Locked On Bucks a few weeks ago, and actually Frank Madden, the founder of this site we write for, he made a point that, I understand I totally get it if you're just like, I just want to watch Giannis. Like as a fan of the Bucks, like I totally understand you want to watch Giannis. The problem you run into is he wants to win.
Yeah.
And he wants to force the Bucks into into spending all their future assets to be able to win. And what I'm saying is that's never going to happen with this current core.
Not anymore.
And so like if he wants to be, by all means, if he wants to like remain in Milwaukee and just like, they can be competitive and stuff, like I don't really have a problem with that. I don't prefer that option. But I totally understand if that's what some fans want. My thing is like they don't have the juice anymore to compete like they used to. I mean, they've been competing they've been in the playoffs for a decade now.
Yeah.
And so just by judging by the rules of how all sports work is when you are good, you don't get good draft picks. And the Bucks have traded all their draft picks away. But even on the, like even if they hadn't, like they would be, all their picks have ended like from 20 to 30 kind of thing. And so you look at like the lifespan, like the Cleveland were good. They went bad, Detroit were bad forever. But like you could list teams that like they were good and then they had to do a rebuild. Memphis
even Toronto.
Had to rebuild.
Toronto was bad /
Toronto had to rebuild. And they wanted, how long after they won a title did they go, all right, this is, I mean, it was they strung Pascal and OG along too long, but just in general, like it's impossible to keep competing like this. And the Bucks have, I think, reached the end of their lifespan. And I do just want to add one more thing. You don't want to be the team, and this was the Brooklyn Nets, who gave up consecutive picks or pick swaps or whatever they were to the Boston Celtics that ended up being Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be that team that has egg on their face because you gave away generational talent in a draft or drafts, plural, because you were overzealously trying to chase the final remnants of like something that was over. And so that's what I'm worried about as well.
And Brooklyn only recovered as quickly as they did is because they were like, oh crap, we can't do this. We'll take all of your bad contracts, but you have to send all these draft picks. And then it worked out well enough that Kevin Durant left and they got Kyrie and they got Kevin Durant. I was like, okay, you got lucky in that aspect, but that is not the norm. That is not something.
And they're in New York, so that's like an added advantage, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I feel like the Bucks had a very long window of competing and being a title contending team. I would say from 2018 until even this past season, the expectation was some type of contender. And this is now the first year where that is not the expectation. And that was fine with me. I was like, okay, I don't expect them to win a title. I don't expect them to be, one of the top teams in the East. I expect still a competitive team that is going to possibly win a first round playoff series. I don't see that happening. And I don't think there really is any path to that in the current state. And that kind of goes to my thing that I learned, and that is, where is the rock bottom? Because I feel like we keep digging deeper and deeper of a hole, and there is no end in sight. Like, losing by 45 to the Nets, you would think that is a rock bottom. And then you watch and you see a team go 5 minutes without scoring, and you see them go against Minnesota, and you're like, it keeps, like, is it as bad as losing by 45 to the Nets? No. But does it suck all the same? Yeah. And it just keeps extending. And kind of like what you said, is rock bottom going to be, we're going to make these trades that are not going to help and mortgage the future? Is it going to be every time Doc Rivers does some dumb thing coaching wise, and you're saying, you're like, why is he still the coach at this point? Maybe not. It just feels like I don't know where rock bottom is. And that I'm afraid that this team is still making its way to it. Like, we haven't hit rock bottom. And that is scary, because Giannis is out in a couple weeks. How much lower? Because you also now have to factor, you don't want New Orleans to do well enough, because if they do just well enough, then that first round pick, that could be a good lottery pick at this point, can go either, it would go to Atlanta. And now that's another thing you have to factor in. It's like, if the Bucks continue to slide, now you're looking at a situation where, they're going to be in a potential lottery situation where they might get a good pick that they won't be able to keep.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Pelicans won again today. They are now up to 8 wins. The Bucks are on 11 wins,
which is fine, because the East has a lot of teams at the bottom between the Pacers, Wizards, Nets, Hornets, all are below them. And then I think on the West, you still have the Clippers, who their first round pick goes to Oklahoma City.
Oh my God! Don't, Jesus Christ! If OKC get like a top 5 pick, just like shut down the league. And I believe they have, the other thing is they have Utah's pick if it's like top 5 protected or something. But if Utah, who are playing quite well, I mean, relative to what they want to be playing, they're playing a lot better than the front office wants them to be playing. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, so let's
just say right now the Clippers have the 4th worst record, so it would go to OKC.
Yeah. So I mean, OKC just like annoying how good their front office is and whatever. Like that PG trade just set them up for like golden years. So the Pelicans are on 8 wins. The Bucks are on 11. The Clippers are on 7 wins. So you feel like those teams, like the Utah and like Dallas, will probably they'll probably tank their way to the bottom, and you hope that the Clippers come to the top. But absolutely, it's worrying that the Pelicans are starting to win games. But we just basically need the Pelicans and the Bucks to be like both near the bottom, and then they should end up with like one of those picks will come out in the wash and be like a good pick. So the ideal situation, the Pelicans,
best case scenario is the Pelicans get a top 2 pick, and that it doesn't matter what happens with the Bucks after.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but sorry, that I got sidetracked on tanking talk right there.
Well, no, but I also agree, because you're looking at, I mean, Washington will probably be a team that will want to tank. Indiana, I don't think they will intentionally or like put that in motion.
I'm worried. I need Indiana.
But this is still a team that does not have their best player, and they've lost 5 in a row. Like, Indiana might not. They might try and compete, but they're not talented without Tyrese. Like, that is a fact. The Kings will probably want to tank. The Clippers will probably be the only team that's near the bottom that's like, oh, we should try and do better.
Yeah, and so as far as the Buck, that's the one thing that's keeping me sane right now is just need the Pelicans to be bad. Bucks can lose however many they want to lose, and then now that the Pelicans are winning a few, it's just like, okay, settle down, Pels. But
it's like, you won 5 of your last 10. Like, can you not?
Yeah. So yeah, the whole rock bottom thing. It's like I felt like the Brooklyn game was like, all right, this is rock bottom. Maybe the Washington game, because Giannis actually did play in that game.
Yeah, that was. But then, yeah, exactly. You're like, oh yeah, the Washington game, and that was not rock bottom.
Yeah, and so, I mean, the team is obviously capable of playing better basketball than that. But yeah, I feel like there have been a few games where it's like, okay, like you're watching it and you're like, we are watching like a flame, like a fire that was once burning in flames. It's just like a coal ember, just like flickering a little bit at this point. And you kind of get those existential thoughts about what happens next. And I feel like that's when you know you're at rock bottom, is when like you're kind of thinking like, okay, like what's this team going to look like in 2 years and all this stuff. So, and that's something that you never thought, like, God, like it just feels like a lifetime ago. But, 2018 through 2022 was just like, oh man, those were the good years. They just won every regular season game. They had a dominant defense. Those were the good years.
And then I'm sitting here, I was like, do we really trust John Horst, even if he had, like, say, the 9th pick in the draft? Do we really trust John Horst to make the right decision? Because let's be real, John Horst's draft history has sucked.
No, I've thought about this a lot, and if the Bucks ever entered a rebuild, and I'm not sure John Horst has this self-awareness, but you need to go around to all the best recruiters in the NBA and say, we'll give you $500,000 if you come work for us, and you need to like invest all your resources into scouting, because and I think some of it's been like they've been trying to get, like, for example, they would have targeted Tyler Smith because they think he could like play with Giannis, and then it just turns out that Tyler Smith sucks. Or sorry, that's a bit too much, but like.
But I was gonna say that's one of those like,
yeah,
like that's why last year's draft, like, okay, you're taking home runs and you are thinking in 1 or 2 years maybe they'll be good, but then you immediately give up on both within a year. And it's like, okay, so we just wasted a whole draft.
Yeah, and like you go through, you look at like that part of the draft, and like, you're looking at like, oh God, I'd get it up if I could.
I mean,
like,
I have it pulled up. Like,
yeah, and
2025,
so,
you have Bogo, who is not with the team. He's out in Europe, which I thought that was a bad idea. Like, if you're gonna, this would have been a good season for him to get some playing time. Last year, AJ Johnson and Tyler Smith, both of them already gone.
But do you have like the other players? Because I know there's like AJ Mitchell, Kyle Filipowski was available. All these guys.
Oh, in that year.
Yeah. But basically, what I'm trying to say is like if you ranked kind of like the players in that area, Tyler Smith and AJ Johnson, respectfully, are like nowhere near their peers around that area, and it just boggles the mind how we missed twice, and like there's like good players just scattered everywhere around that area. Ugh.
Yeah, so I'll say this. Around the AJ Johnson draft, other players, Keyshawn George went a pick later.
Oh God.
Dylan Jones, depending how you view him, he's been okay. Terrence Shannon Jr. went a couple picks later, and I know Terrence Shannon Jr. had a whole legal situation, so I'm giving the Bucks a pass on that one. Ryan Dunn, I was banging that drum. That didn't happen.
God.
So those are some of the picks I went after.
Yeah.
And yes, Kyle Filipowski went the pick before Tyler Smith, but the pick after Tyler Smith, Tyler Kolek. You have Johnny Furphy. You have Bobby Clintman. I would say
AJ Mitchell is like AJ Mitchell was
38th pick, so that was like 5 or 6 picks later. Jalen Wells, who I think is
my God.
He went 39th.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like AJ Johnson and Tyler Smith. I take back. I don't want to call players say they suck, but like you look at like their ranking, like, and like if you were to say Jalen Wells is like a 7 out of 10 player, AJ Mitchell is like an 8 out of 10 player, AJ Johnson and Tyler Smith are like 3 out of 10s compared to those players, and it's like the fact that we missed so badly on both of them, and we had 2 shots at the two bites at the apple, and we didn't get one. That's crazy. And like, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, we have an issue in our scouting department because of this.
Well, even if you look at past drafts, yeah, they had the last pick, but you're using it on Hugo Besson and Chris Livingston, like guys that were never going to amount to anything. And I'm not saying, like, I have always said, John Horst, he can make trades and he can do, especially the small / marginal trades. Great. John Horst has done a decent job at that. Like, taking Marjan and making that Kevin Porter Jr. was a good decision. Like, he's made these minimal trades, even way back when it was like, okay, we're going to send John Henson and Delhi for George Hill. Great.
Yeah.
That worked out. Or when he got PJ Tucker. Like, those are the kind of things where you go, all right, that worked out for them. But then you're looking and it's like, I understand that you had low end second round picks because of like the Drew trade and the Dame trade. But you're really telling me you couldn't have kept Aaron Wiggins? Like, you took Sandro Mamukilashvili, but Aaron Wiggins went a pick later.
Yeah.
Like, even Jericho Sims went a couple picks later. You had someone like Austin Reeves, which, okay, hindsight, yeah, Austin Reeves was a lot better than I think everyone imagined, but those are guys that you probably could have worked with in like 2021. In 2020, it's like, okay, again, I understand you took Jordan Nwora. Thankfully, that draft, like the picks after, did not work out. Like, got a little bit lucky in that aspect, but it's just. And he had Sam Merrill, which was like, Sam Merrill obviously has turned out to have a good NBA career. Would he have done better if he was in Milwaukee? Maybe, maybe not. But it's like, okay, you have AJ Green, you had Gary Trent, like, you've had guys that can do the same thing. I just don't know at what point are we going to sit and be like, all right, can this truly get worse? And I'm afraid that it can.
I mean, we are talking about like, late first round picks. And then the other thing is the second round, like, I feel like from pick 40 onwards, everything is already prearranged anyway. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure Austin Reeves got himself undrafted because he basically guys say, like, teams, we want to take you with pick 47. And they say, no, I've got an opportunity lined up. Like, for example, Tyrese Proctor, who was an Australian, he telegraphed himself to the Cavs. And like, so as far as the second round goes, like, I kind of get, like, you never really know the politics behind what happens. But
yeah, mid to late second round, like, that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this, like, like the Marjon pick, like, he was just a theoretical, like, maybe this long gangly guy can turn into something. Like the DJ Wilson pick, like, these are just bad picks, dude. Bad picks. And like the fact that they brought in Andrew Nemhard, like, it was reported they brought him in for a second workout. They were choosing between him and Marjon. And they chose Marjon. Oh my God. Could you imagine if this team had Drew Holiday and Andrew Nemhard? Bro.
Yeah. Or even if you want to, like, someone like Nikola Jovic, who is not better than Andrew Nemhard, but he would have been a lot more useful than
Marjon, like, playing next to Giannis. Yeah, like, small ball. Like, Nikola Jovic is a serviceable NBA player. He just got extended for like 60 million. Like,
like, that is someone that you could have on your, like, Marjan's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
And let's be real, John Horst, I mean, the Bucks draft in general have, other than Dante, it's been bad drafting overall.
Yep.
So I think I'm worried it can get worse, and I don't know where rock bottom is, and I'm afraid to find out, but I feel like we are going to hit it at some point this season. And
it is nice. It's just nice to have the foil of, like, okay, like, losing isn't the worst thing. But also then it's like, you're kind of, that you have to keep all these things of where the Pelicans are at and all these things in your mind, which is not a nice feeling.
it's not the losing, it's the losing and knowing nothing will change.
Yes, yeah.
That is the problem. It's like you lose by 45. We're still keeping Doc Rivers. We're still going to play some of these guys. Like, okay, we're still.
I just feel like they paid Doc. Yeah, they've paid Doc. It's like Doc. Oh my god, Doc is like one of the highest paid coaches in the league, which is just the most shocking incompetence. Like Doc really went to the Bucks and said, "You want me? Pay me whatever it is, like a $40 million contract or whatever he's on." Like, and they went, "Oh, please, Doc, let us pay you $40 million." Like, oh my god, dude!
It's like we did not have to do this.
Said, we'll pay you like $3 million per season, or you can piss off. And like,
or how about you come in and we'll figure it out at the end of the season?
Yeah. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Honestly, I was looking at the past Bucks drafts. I was like, oh yeah, there were like from 2021 through, I would say this year, since 2021, most of these draft picks have been bad. And Andre Jackson Jr. is like somehow still in the roster, but otherwise, it ain't looking good.
Yeah.
It ain't good.
Yeah.
Even
Ajax
the
is
previous
just like,
drafts.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Say, even the previous drafts was like 2018 was Dante. Okay. Overall, that was a good pick. Not a great pick, but solid you can be happy with that. 2017, DJ Wilson, not a good pick, but Sterling Brown was a serviceable player for a bit. 2016, you had Malcolm Brogdon. You also had Don Maker. But you had moments. You were like, cool. 2015 was Rashad Vaughn. That didn't work. But 2014, you took Jabari, and that was fine. 2013, you had Giannis. Great. 2012, John Henson. It's like you had guys where at least you could sit there and be like, one of them worked out.
Yeah.
And that has not happened, I would say, since 2021. Because 2020 was War and Sam Merrill. It's like they weren't good. I think if they were in this Bucks team, I think we would have gotten more out of them.
Yeah, well, you're reminding me of a point that I don't think I brought up yet. Is like part of the whole, like, do you go in again and do you have? So like part of the reason is if you trade more assets to try and like keep Giannis happy and whatnot, there is no young nucleus coming behind it. And this is what you're talking about with the missed draft picks. There's nothing coming behind. You know, they lugged into Ryan. Like obviously they identified Ryan Rollins, but like lucky the Wizards were dumb and let him go because he like shoplifted or something. Like okay, but like that's a lucky kind of coincidence that you got him. But like other than that, like okay, like maybe Kevin Porter Jr. Like that's, you know, who knows, but. It's
that was
like,
also someone that came in with a lot of baggage that you were like, we don't even know.
Precisely.
He might get suspended.
Yeah. It's like if KPJ didn't have all the baggage, he would not be on the Bucks right now. So, so there's nothing coming behind. There's no like there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a fullback where it's like, even if Giannis goes and these picks, like we're still going to be okay because we have like a young star behind him or something. And it's like, they don't have that. And that's why I'm like, stop digging the hole and like start replenishing your assets. This is my point.
Yeah, especially when you look at the young players that Milwaukee has brought in. It's like, okay, Ryan Rollins, yes, good. That is someone that you can rely on in the future. AJ Green, still young. Yes, he got his extension, but that's someone you can rely on that is young enough. And then after that's like Jericho Sims, kinda.
Yeah, the Jericho Sims is like 28 at this point, so like he's actually
right. It's like
he's Giannis is 31 and Sims is 28. Like how weird is that to think about?
Yeah, it's weird because it's like you think Jericho Sims is like a lot younger than he actually is, but it's like, are you really gonna look at I don't know Cole Anthony as one that's like technically not old, but he's also not super young?
That guy will be. I'm not sure he gets a contract next season. Like if he gets a contract. Someone put a bet on me. Does Cole Anthony get a contract next season?
Absolutely not. He will not. But it's like, okay, you have Bogo. That's the other young player. We don't even know if he's good.
Yeah. So.
All right. Enough doom casting. We're gonna shift to the miscellaneous stuff. We gotta have some fun. So we're gonna go with Aussie slang.
All right, Aussie slang. You're somewhat like knowledgeable about Aussie terms, so this is a tough one.
Kind of, but it's also been like
get it. Yeah.
12, 13 years since I've been there. So,
like, okay, so first word is boardies.
ooh.
You wear boardies, basically. Yeah.
I was going to say are these shorts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Board shorts. Yeah. So they're like swimmers.
Okay. You giving me the hint helped because I was initially going to think, I was like, why do I feel like that's like an exam or like school related?
Yeah.
Like you take your boards. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, you wear your boardies to the pool or whatever.
Okay.
Next one is brolly.
Yeah, that one I definitely don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to try and say I don't know that one. I'll take a guess. Brolly.
Do you want a hint?
No, I'm going to take a shot in the dark. Brolly.
Right.
I feel like it's a food related thing. I'm going to say it's like a food related thing.
I'll give you a hint. It's not a very good hint, but it's the word. What it is kind of in brolly, but it's just like there's a letter that is wrong. The O should be replaced with an E, but like the ELL.
Brel? Okay. Wait.
Brel. What is Brel?
Well, now give me a whole nother slang term that I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, umbrella. Yeah, so umbrella, yeah. I don't know if I explained that really poorly.
No,
like,
I was sitting there I was
trying
to
say, yeah.
Brel, like what's in Brel? Again, I was still thinking food.
Yeah, so umbrella, but we call it a brolly over here for some reason. So
okay.
I think they might call it a brolly in like the UK as well. I'm not
maybe
mistaken.
I feel like even I don't even use an umbrella half the time. It's always one of those. I was like, I should have one on me when it's raining. I'm just gonna wear a rain jacket and call it good.
Yeah, I never use an umbrella. I just like
Like I remember one time I got a umbrella for golf. Like it was like, oh yeah, you can like have this golf. It's like huge. You use it when you're golfing. I was like, for what?
Yeah.
If I'm golfing, I'm taking a cart. And also if I'm golfing, I'm expecting to be out in the sun. I don't care how hot it is. One of the weirdest, I think that was one of the weirdest Christmas gifts I've gotten.
All right. Well, that's Aussie slang. So let's get into your film review.
All right. I apologize for any older listeners that have heard this review because I don't even know. I was sitting there, I was like, I don't even know if I've done an Elf. Classic Christmas movie. I decided to watch it with the boys this past weekend because the school sent them for like Christmas break. They sent them a thing of popcorn and hot chocolate.
Oh, nice.
So, like the boys, like, oh, like, can we have the popcorn? I was like, well, you have to have it after dinner. I'm not doing it. You either got to have it middle of the day or after dinner. But there wasn't necessarily a good time. But then we kind of sat there. Like, Casey and I were like, oh, we'll just like watch a Christmas movie. They can have popcorn and hot chocolate. So we asked the boys, like, oh, like, what do you want to watch? You want to watch Elf or do you want to watch The Grinch? Like the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch. Because The Grinch is my favorite Christmas movie. But they chose Elf, which is fine. Watching as an adult, it's a lot better than I expected. Honestly, I feel like the issue is I feel like Elf got really, really hyped up. And then people wanted to just be contrarian and say, okay, it's not that good. Like, we're making it seem like it's the greatest Christmas movie ever. It's not. But it is pretty good. Like, it has a easy to follow plot. The characters are all relatively believable. I think Will Ferrell does a great job. There are moments where I'm just sitting there like, I am uncomfortable by how cringy and embarrassing this is. Which is expected.
2003 is a while ago, actually. I haven't...
Also that, like, I did not realize how old the movie was.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like, oh yeah, like, I remember watching it in college and like high school. I was like, yeah, I guess it came out in 2003, so it makes sense. It still ages well. I will say that. Like, the jokes still relatively age well, which is good. No, there are a lot of jokes that were definitely for the adult, not for children. Overall, it's a good Christmas movie. Like, I think it is solid. I give it, after watching it again, I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. Like, it's not the best Christmas movie, but it's one of those where someone said we're watching Elf as our Christmas movie. I'd be like, cool, fine with me. I don't know. Like, it aged a lot better than I expected it to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've watched Elf, but what's that movie where the Polar Express? Polar Express, I think that's what it's called.
Oh,
Just,
I both like it and hate it.
so that's what it's called, Polar Express.
Yeah, there's Polar Express, which is like, I don't even know what.
I always used to love Polar Express. Yeah, that was like my movie, but I haven't watched a Christmas movie in a long time. But they are good because they're you get that nostalgia and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those where like, oh, can we watch Home Alone? Because they saw it on Disney Plus. Like, no, you're too young to watch Home Alone. And then like, oh, can we watch the Christmas Story? I was like, no. Still, like, there are definitely a few where I'm like, yeah, you're too young, and I cannot have you watching this. I felt like Elf was right on the line, but it worked out. But yeah, honestly, I was like, it's that time of year. Let's watch a Christmas movie, and they enjoyed it. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, again, sorry for the listeners that were like, Kyle, you've done this in the past. Also, I've done this podcast for like 6 years now. Like, give me a break. If I repeat a movie, so be it. But it's been 6 years. But we're gonna end. We'll end it with our. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to comment on some random Netflix stuff that I've been watching, but like that will be like another few minutes.
No,
I've been watching. God, what's it called? I just watched The Beast in Me, which I know we were talking about a bit before, but I really liked that. I don't know the actor. I'm not an actors guy, so I don't really know who's in it. But the woman is apparently a somewhat notable character.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, so Claire Danes is like one of the stars, which I've heard of her, but
right. Okay, because I had not heard of her. Yeah,
like I've heard of her. Now, can I name a movie she is in? No, but I've heard of her. Like, that's one of those names where I was like, oh yeah, sure. They're important.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did want to make mention of it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. So if people want something to watch on Netflix, it's a good little series. It's not too short, but also not too long. It's like, I think 8 episodes, 45 minutes per ep, I think. So yeah, it's a good little series.
Yeah, I'm reading the short description, and it definitely, I am intrigued by it. I will definitely say that. So yeah, I'll probably have to, like I said, we were saying on the call, I have a week and a half off starting Christmas Eve, and then I have the next week and a half off, so I will need to watch stuff on Netflix. So I will probably give this one a shot and at least start with it. So seems to have also gotten, like, it's critically acclaimed. Like, it's got a couple Golden Globe nominations. It's got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I guess is something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some series that are just like, this is just cheap crap. Like, this is bad. But then, like, this one, I was like, they did a really good job on this.
As someone that watched a whole season of people selling like apartments and houses and condos in Manhattan, I think I need a cleanse. I need something serious, because following drama of people selling $1 million like apartments in Manhattan.
Is that Owning Manhattan show?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I've started watching that. Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's kind of like brain rot kind of stuff, but yeah.
I watched that, and I watched the newest season of I think it's Selling Sunset, the OC. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't hate those shows, but they don't like captivate you or anything.
They're great for, I don't know, I don't want to pick a new series to start. I'm just going to put something that I don't have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I will have a review of Owning Manhattan probably next time I'm on. But we are going to end with our predictions. So Tuesday or today, depending on when you hear this, they are at the Pacers, and then Friday they're at Memphis, face the Grizzlies, and then the next day they're at Chicago. So continuing the road trip, 3 games. Jack, what is your prediction?
Ooh. I would have said I would have said the Pacers would have beaten the Bucks, but the Pacers have been looking quite. They're kind of bipolar. I was watching their game against Boston today. They were up 20 at halftime, and then they literally just like stopped. Like they were making shots in the first half, and then oh my god, the brick fest that they put up in the second half. So they kind of just make or miss. Sometimes they just make a whole bunch of shots and win. They will be obviously charged up because they hate Miles Turner, so they're going to be ready to go.
And considering the last time they played, Giannis hit that game winner.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what I mean. And Giannis isn't playing, so come on, that's a real 50-50 for me. I'm going to say the Bucks win it just because I feel like the Pacers can't sort themselves out. I feel like the Bucks are going to win it. Grizzlies, I think they're going to lose that. Despite the fact that the Grizzlies, I believe, are quite injured and don't have Ja Morant. And then in Chicago, I think they're going to lose that one too. Chicago are playing better. And they're scoring the ball better than they were. They kind of got out of that little rut. They had consecutive wins against the Cavs, and then they also just beat the Hawks.
Okay.
So I'm going to go 1 and 2.
I'm also going to say 1 and 2. I don't know which one, though. So, like, I don't know which one they're going to win. Because there's a part of me that's like, I can see them going into Indy. Indy's not play well. They can win that game. Thought of that with Brooklyn. I can see, them playing to the level of Memphis and giving them a game. But then I think of the other times they've played in Memphis, and it's always been terrible. And then I'm like, I can see them.
Memphis in like.
I don't.
Have they ever won a game in Memphis? Feels like they always get killed in Memphis.
I'm sure they have, but it's been a while. And now I'm going to try and look it up. But yeah, it's always less like, I can see them winning a game, but then I go back and I'm like, I actually don't believe at the same time. Let me see. Yeah. No, it's just one of those where, yeah, like I said, I'll pick obviously 1 and 2. Do not ask me on which one. And in fact, not only has Milwaukee not beaten Memphis in Memphis, Milwaukee has not beaten Memphis since the 2021-2022 season.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. That was the last time they won against Memphis.
Yep.
So that's something. I'm looking at the box score. Grayson Allen and George Hill were the starting guard combination. Drew was coming off the bench.
This is so psychotic of me, but I feel like I remember this game. It was in. So wait, sorry. Are you referring to beating Memphis?
Yeah, this was in 2022.
And was that game at home? Do you know?
Yes.
I remember this game. Yes, George Hill saved them. I remember. Yeah.
Interesting box score. Yeah, like the start. Brooke did not play because I think he had his back situation. George Hill and Grayson Allen were the starting guards. Dante played 18 and a half minutes, didn't score a point, but was a +5. Wes Matthews only made 3 shots, was a +13. Sure, this is a weird box score.
What did Giannis have?
Giannis had 33 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals and a block.
Yeah.
He also fouled out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this was not a good Grizzlies team, I will say. Like, it's Ja Morant, who had 33 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 29. But then it was like Zaire Williams, John Conchor, Steven Adams. And then the bench was Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Jarrett Culver, and DeAnthony Melton.
Those are indeed some NBA players of all time.
Those were guys that have played in the NBA, but I'm going to have to try and figure out when the last time. Oh, wait. Okay, so it looks like the Bucks did beat Memphis in the 2020-2021 season. Right, they won by 2 points.
By the way, I'm just looking at Twitter. My worst fear. Multiple teams at the G League Showcase in Orlando confirmed to ESPN that the Bucks.
Oh yeah, I saw that notification on my ESPN. I was like, I don't care.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Don't do something stupid. All right. Yeah. That's a good note to end it on, I reckon.
Yeah, we're going to end it there, but we appreciate, make sure to follow us on brewhoop.com, where we will provide obviously more game previews, recaps, analysis. We'll probably be getting close to the quarter, so we'll have a report card update. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Share the podcast as well on whatever podcast app you listen on. We appreciate those that had us in their top for their Spotify Wrapped. So make sure to share it on whatever podcast app you listen to. And also, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and we will talk to you later.